Have you ever wondered why some men linger in a woman's memory long after their footsteps have faded from her life? Why, in the quiet hours of the night, her thoughts drift back to him, the one she let slip away, the one whose absence echoes louder than any presence? This is not the story of the loud, boastful man, nor the one who bends and breaks for fleeting affection. This is the story of the man who becomes a legend in her mind, a living paradox, unreachable yet unforgettable. His power is not in what he chases, but in what he refuses to chase. He is the man Marcus Aurelius would have understood, a man governed by inner law, not by the chaos of desire. In the theatre of attraction, most men are actors desperate for applause, their self-worth tethered to the whims of another's attention. They perform, they plead, they mold themselves into shapes they hope will be loved. But the man she regrets losing is not a performer. He is the stage itself, solid, unmoving, mysterious. He is the storm and the silence after. He is the man who knows that true power is found not in the pursuit, but in the mastery of self. He walks the world with a kind of sacred detachment, a serenity that cannot be borrowed or faked. His calm is not coldness, but a deep, unshakable peace, born from the fires of disappointment and the ashes of former selves. He has tasted the bitterness of rejection, the sting of being overlooked, the ache of giving too much. But instead of hardening, he has refined himself. He has learned what Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This man is not immune to longing, nor is he untouched by the beauty of connection. But he does not confuse desire with desperation. He does not beg to be chosen. He knows that the rarest men are those who can stand alone, who can sit in the quiet of their own company and feel whole. He has wrestled with his ego in the dead of night, stripped himself of the need to be seen, to be validated, to be adored. In this nakedness he has found a kind of invincibility, a freedom that no rejection can tarnish. The world senses this freedom. Women sense it too. For what is more intoxicating than a man who does not need you, yet chooses you with his full presence? What is more haunting than the memory of a man who walked away, not out of anger, but out of self-respect? The man she regrets losing is the one who could have stayed, but refused to shrink himself for comfort. He is the one who, when faced with disrespect or indifference, does not plead or protest, but simply withdraws. His silence is not a weapon, but a mirror, reflecting back the truth of what was offered. In the realm of masculine psychology, this is the forbidden path. Most are taught to chase, to please, to compromise their boundaries for a moment's affection. But the man who becomes unforgettable is the one who walks away from anything that diminishes his soul. He does not punish with absence. He simply honors himself with presence elsewhere. In doing so, he awakens a primal curiosity in those who once took him for granted. His absence becomes a riddle, a wound, a lesson. This man is not a ghost, nor is he a game player. He is simply a man who refuses to betray himself for love. He has learned the art of radical acceptance, the ability to see things as they are, not as he wishes them to be. He does not cling to fantasy, nor does he chase what runs from him. He knows that love, to be real, must be freely given and freely received. Anything less is a transaction, not a union. His power lies in his restraint. In a world addicted to noise, he is comfortable with silence. In a culture obsessed with validation, he is content to be misunderstood. He does not explain himself to those who cannot see his worth. He does not argue for his value. He simply exists, unbothered, unbroken, unyielding. This is the essence of Stoic masculinity, a quiet, unwavering confidence that cannot be manufactured. Women remember this man because he is rare. He is the exception to the rule, the one who does not crumble under pressure or dissolve in the face of rejection. He does not retaliate, nor does he seek revenge. He simply lets go, trusting that what is meant for him will remain, and what is not will fall away. In his letting go, he becomes unforgettable. He becomes the standard by which all others are measured. If you are listening to these words, you may feel the sting of recognition. Perhaps you have chased, pleaded, or lost yourself in the pursuit of someone else's affection. Perhaps you have felt the emptiness that comes from abandoning yourself to win another. But know this, every man has the capacity to become the one she regrets losing. It is not a matter of looks, wealth, or status. It is a matter of self-mastery, a relentless commitment to your own soul. To walk this path is to embrace discomfort, to sit with the ache of solitude, to resist the urge to fill the void with distractions. It is to become intimate with your own darkness, to face the parts of yourself that crave approval, that fear abandonment, that long to be chosen. It is to stare into the mirror and see both your wounds and your worth, and to choose again and again to honor yourself above all. This is not arrogance, it is reverence. Reverence for your own life, your own heart, your own journey. It is the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you think yourself unworthy, you will act unworthy. If you believe you must beg for love, you will attract those who require your begging. But if you cultivate a mind of strength, a heart of resilience, a spirit of detachment, you become magnetic, not because you chase, but because you stand still in your own power. The man she regrets losing is not a myth. He is a possibility waiting to be realized in every man who dares to step off the path of neediness and onto the road of self-respect. He is forged in the fires of rejection, tempered by solitude, crowned by self-mastery. His legacy is not in the hearts he conquers, but in the peace he carries within. She remembers him not for the words he spoke, but for the silences he held. In a world where most men fill the air with promises and pleas, the man she regrets losing is a master of restraint. His silence is not emptiness, but presence, a living force that says, "I am enough, even when I say nothing." This is the kind of silence that unsettles, that lingers in the mind long after the conversation has ended. It is the silence of a man who is at home within himself, who does not fear the void because he has learned to make peace with it. There is a sacredness in this man's solitude. He does not seek company to escape himself, nor does he use others as a shield against loneliness. Instead, he embraces solitude as a crucible, a place where the ego is burned away, where the soul is refined. He knows that only in solitude can a man truly meet himself, stripped of all masks and pretenses. It is here, in the quiet, that he confronts his own shadows, the insecurities, the regrets, the wounds that drive lesser men to seek validation. He faces them without flinching, without denial, accepting them as part of his story, but not the whole of his being. This acceptance is radical. It is not resignation, but liberation. For when a man accepts himself fully, he is no longer held hostage by the opinions of others. He does not need to be liked, admired, or chosen to feel worthy. His value is intrinsic, untouchable, immune to the fickle tides of external approval. This is the essence of Stoic power, the ability to remain unshaken in the face of praise or blame, to stand rooted in one's own truth. Such a man becomes a mystery, a riddle that cannot be solved by simple affection or attention. He is not aloof or cold, but deeply present. When he loves, he does so with his whole being, but he does not lose himself in love. He gives freely, without expectation, without the need to possess or control. If his love is returned, he receives it with gratitude. If it is not, he lets go with grace, trusting that nothing real can be lost. Women sense this. They are drawn to it, even if they cannot name it. For in a world of men who are desperate to be needed, the man who needs nothing is irresistible. He is the embodiment of freedom, the living proof that happiness does not depend on another's presence. And yet his presence is a gift, a rare and precious thing that cannot be demanded, only invited. The man she regrets losing is not without emotion. He feels deeply, perhaps more deeply than most, but he does not allow his emotions to rule him. He practices the discipline of emotional fortitude, the ability to feel without being consumed, to grieve without being broken, to desire without being enslaved. He knows that emotions are like weather, powerful, unpredictable, but ultimately passing. He observes them, learns from them, but does not let them dictate his actions. This is the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." The man who becomes unforgettable is the one who has learned to revoke the power of external things over his inner state. He does not allow rejection to define him, nor does he permit desire to diminish him. He stands apart, self-contained, sovereign. In the dance of attraction, this sovereignty is magnetic. Women may not understand why they are drawn to him, why his absence feels heavier than another man's presence. It is because he is whole unto himself. He does not seek completion in another, nor does he offer himself as a savior. He invites partnership, not dependency, intimacy, not enmeshment. He is clear in his boundaries, firm in his values, unwavering in his self-respect. When a woman tries to test him, to provoke a reaction, to see if she can shake his composure, she finds instead a stillness that cannot be disturbed. He does not play games, nor does he retaliate. He simply remains himself, unaltered by drama or manipulation. This is not indifference, but mastery, a refusal to be dragged into chaos, a commitment to inner peace above all. And so, when he walks away, it is not a tactic or a punishment. It is an act of self-preservation, a declaration that his soul is not for sale. He leaves not to cause pain, but to honor his own boundaries. In his absence, the true value of his presence becomes clear. The woman who let him go begins to see what she lost, not just a man, but a force of nature, a living example of what it means to be whole. This is the legacy of the Stoic man. He is remembered not for his conquests, but for his integrity, not for his charm, but for his unwavering sense of self. He is the man who, even in loss, gains something greater, freedom from the need to be chosen, peace in his own company, the quiet power of a man who knows who he is. If you wish to become this man, you must be willing to do what most will not. You must be willing to face yourself, to sit with your own discomfort, to resist the urge to seek validation outside yourself. You must learn to love your own company, to find meaning in solitude, to cultivate a sense of purpose that is independent of anyone else's approval. This is not an easy path. It requires discipline, courage, and a willingness to let go of old patterns. It demands that you confront your fears, your insecurities, your longing to be loved. But in this confrontation, you will find something priceless, a sense of self that cannot be shaken, a peace that cannot be stolen, a presence that cannot be forgotten. He is forged in the crucible of disappointment, not destroyed by it. Each heartbreak, each moment of being overlooked or misunderstood does not diminish him, it tempers him. The man she regrets losing has learned to gather his pain and transform it into wisdom, to accept what he cannot control and to focus his energy on the only territory that truly belongs to him, his own mind, his own soul. He walks through the world with the quiet confidence of one who has nothing to prove, nothing to defend, nothing to hide. This is the paradox that confounds those around him. He is open, yet impenetrable. He is generous with his affection, yet never needy. He listens deeply, but does not betray himself to be understood. In his presence there is a sense of gravity, a magnetic pull that draws others in, not through force, but through the sheer authenticity of his being. He is not perfect, nor does he pretend to be. He is, above all, real, unvarnished, untamed by the expectations of others. Such a man becomes a mirror to those who encounter him. He reflects back not what they wish to see, but what is true. His boundaries are not walls, but invitations to meet him at his level. Those who cannot rise to meet him fall away. Those who can find themselves transformed by the encounter. He does not rescue, nor does he enable. He stands firm, trusting that the right connections will endure and the wrong ones will dissolve. There is a kind of wildness to him, an untamed spirit that refuses to be domesticated by comfort or convenience. He is not reckless, but he is fearless, unafraid to lose what is not meant for him, unafraid to walk alone if necessary. He does not cling to the past, nor does he chase after the future. He lives in the present, fully awake to the reality before him. This presence is his gift, his power, his legacy. In matters of love, he is both passionate and detached. He gives everything, but never at the expense of himself. He loves with intensity, but without attachment. He knows that true love is not possession, but freedom. The freedom to be oneself, the freedom to leave if necessary, the freedom to remain only if it is true. He does not try to control or change those he loves. He accepts them as they are and expects the same in return. When a relationship ends, he does not collapse into bitterness or blame. He grieves, but he does not wallow. He learns, but he does not obsess. He honors what was, releases what is gone, and trusts in the unfolding of his own journey. This capacity to let go, to move forward without regret or resentment, is what makes him unforgettable. He is the one who, even in loss, leaves a mark, not because he tried to be remembered, but because he dared to be himself. This is the wisdom of the ancients, the teaching of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics, to be unmoved by praise or blame, to find contentment within, to remain steadfast in the face of adversity. The man she regrets losing is the living embodiment of these principles. He is not a statue, cold and unfeeling, but a living flame, burning bright, undiminished by the winds of circumstance. In the depths of night, when memories return and regrets surface, it is not the men who begged or pleaded who haunt her thoughts. It is the one who walked away with dignity, the one who left her with questions instead of answers, the one whose silence spoke louder than any declaration. She remembers his steadiness, his refusal to be shaken, his unwavering sense of self. She wonders if she will ever meet another like him, if she will ever again feel the gravity of a man who needs nothing, desires everything, and yet is owned by nothing. The world is full of men who are willing to betray themselves for a taste of affection. The world is hungry for men who cannot be bought, who cannot be swayed, who cannot be broken by the loss of another's approval. The man she regrets losing is rare not because he is flawless, but because he is whole. He has made peace with his own darkness, embraced his own wounds, and emerged from the crucible of solitude with a heart that is both tender and unbreakable. To become this man is to walk a lonely road at times. It is to stand apart from the crowd, to say no when others beg you to say yes, to refuse what does not align with your truth. It is to cultivate a kind of inner wealth that cannot be measured by status or success, a wealth of spirit, of character, of self-respect. It is to understand, as Marcus Aurelius wrote, that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every rejection, every loss, every moment of solitude is not an obstacle but an invitation to go deeper, to grow stronger, to become more fully yourself. And so the man she regrets losing is not a fantasy, not a myth, but a possibility alive in every man who dares to claim it. He is the man who remains when all else falls away. He is the man whose silence is a sanctuary, whose presence is a challenge, whose absence is a lesson. He is the man who, in losing, gains everything that truly matters. In the quiet aftermath of loss, when the noise of the world fades and the heart is left to reckon with its own longing, the man she regrets losing stands apart, not as a ghost, but as a living testament to the power of self-possession. His memory does not torment, it inspires, for he is not the sum of her expectations, nor the echo of her desires. He is himself, resolute and unyielding, a man who has made peace with the tides of fate. He is not untouched by sorrow, but he is not ruled by it. When love is withdrawn, when affection cools, he does not chase after what is fleeing. He does not diminish himself to fit into the shrinking space someone else offers. Instead, he expands into his own emptiness, filling the void with the richness of his own presence. This is the secret of his magnetism. He is never truly alone, for he has befriended his solitude. It is in this solitude that he finds his greatest strength. While other men scramble to fill the silence with distractions, with new faces, with shallow conquests, with the hollow comfort of validation, he sits with the ache, the longing, the grief. He does not run from it, nor does he numb himself against it. He lets it wash over him, knowing that pain is not the enemy, but the teacher. In the words of Seneca, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. The man she regrets losing has proven himself in the crucible of adversity. He has endured the slow burn of heartbreak, the cold sting of rejection, the gnawing hunger for connection. But he has not let these wounds define him. Instead, he has transmuted pain into power, loneliness into liberation. He has learned to stand alone, not as a punishment, but as a privilege. For in standing alone, he discovers the inexhaustible resources of his own spirit. His is a quiet revolution, a rebellion against the tyranny of need. He does not look to others to complete him, nor does he offer himself as a solution to someone else's emptiness. He is whole, and in his wholeness he becomes a beacon, a reminder that love is not about possession, but about presence. He loves fiercely, but without clinging. He gives freely, but without expectation. If love is returned, he welcomes it with open arms. If it is withheld, he bows to reality and moves forward, unburdened by resentment. This is the essence of emotional fortitude. He does not collapse under the weight of his feelings, nor does he project them onto others. He owns his emotions, tending to them as a gardener tends to his soil, patiently, attentively, without judgment. He knows that anger, sadness, longing, all are part of the human condition, to be experienced fully but not obeyed blindly. He feels but he does not flinch. He is moved but not moved off-center. In the presence of this man, others feel both challenged and safe. His boundaries are clear, his intentions honest. He does not manipulate, nor does he tolerate manipulation. He is immune to the games that so often pass for intimacy in the modern world. If a woman tests him, seeking to provoke jealousy or insecurity, she finds instead a man who cannot be baited. He does not react to provocation, he responds with calm. His self-worth is not up for negotiation. This unshakable core is what makes him unforgettable. It is not his appearance, his wealth, or his charm that haunts her memory. It is the sense that in his presence she was invited to rise, to meet him at his level, to bring her best self forward. He does not demand perfection, but he inspires growth. He does not seek to possess, but to witness. His love is not a cage, but a current, strong, steady, and free. When he leaves, it is not with bitterness, but with a kind of sacred sorrow. He does not slam doors or burn bridges. He simply withdraws, taking his energy with him, leaving a space that cannot be easily filled. In this absence, the true value of his presence is revealed. She may search for him in the arms of others, but she will not find him. For he is not a copy, not a role to be played, but an original, a man forged in the fires of self-mastery. He is the embodiment of what Marcus Aurelius called the inner citadel, an unassailable fortress of character and conviction. He does not fear vulnerability, for he knows that true strength is found in honesty. He does not armor himself against pain, but meets it head-on, trusting in his own resilience. His confidence is not bravado, but a quiet certainty that he can endure whatever comes and flourish regardless. To become this man is to choose the path of least compromise and greatest challenge. It is to set aside the need for external validation and cultivate an inner life rich with meaning. It is to practice radical acceptance, not as resignation, but as empowerment. For when a man accepts what he cannot change, he becomes free to change what he can. He ceases to be at the mercy of fate and instead becomes the master of his own destiny. This mastery is not loud. It does not demand recognition. It is a silent revolution, a steady flame that burns long after the fire of passion has faded. The man she regrets losing is the one who mastered himself, who chose integrity over approval, who walked away from what did not serve him and never looked back. In the end, it is not his absence she mourns, but the loss of the man she could have become in his presence. What lingers in the aftermath is not just the memory of his presence, but the subtle, transformative effect he had on her life. The man she regrets losing is a catalyst. He awakens something dormant, a yearning not just for him, but for the version of herself she glimpsed when she was with him. His unwavering standards, his calm self-assurance, his refusal to settle for less than honesty and respect, all these qualities challenge her to rise, to be more conscious, more authentic, more whole. This is the paradox of his legacy. Though he is gone, his influence endures. He is the measure against which future encounters are unconsciously compared. Other men may offer affection, attention, even adoration, but there is a difference, a depth that cannot be faked, a steadiness that cannot be imitated. She may try to forget, to move on, to fill the void with distractions, but the memory of his integrity returns, persistent and unyielding. He is not remembered for grand gestures or dramatic declarations. Rather, It is the small, consistent acts of self-respect and quiet strength that echo loudest. The way he said no without apology. The way he listened without judgment. The way he could be present without needing to be the center of attention. These are the moments that haunt her, not because they were rare, but because they felt so real, so grounding, so safe. If she reaches out after he is gone, she finds him unchanged. He does not gloat, nor does he reopen old wounds. He responds with kindness, but not with longing. He is not waiting for her return, nor is he nursing bitterness. He has moved forward, not out of spite, but out of fidelity to his own journey. His life is full, his days meaningful, his peace hard-won and carefully guarded. And so she learns, as all do in time, that the greatest loss is not the absence of a man, but the absence of the standard he set. The regret is not for what was, but for what could have been. Had she met him with the same depth, the same courage, the same willingness to stand alone in truth. In his absence, she is left with a choice to seek another to fill the void, or to become the kind of person who would never let such a man slip away again. For men seeking to walk this path, the message is clear. Do not become this man for the sake of being remembered. Do not cultivate self-mastery as a strategy to win love or admiration. Become this man because it is the only way to live with honor, with peace, with true freedom. Let your presence be a sanctuary, your absence a lesson, your legacy a quiet revolution in a world that desperately needs it. The man she regrets losing is not a myth or a fantasy. He is real, and he is rare. He is the man who has learned to love without losing himself, to give without expectation, to walk away without regret. He is the man who, in mastering himself, has become unforgettable, not for what he did, but for who he chose to be. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Thanks again for your support, and see you in the next video.